Hi, good morning. My name is Lee, but you can call me Killjoy. If you want to make it longer and more official, it's Lee Killjoy H. Jones. H stands for heat. I am here. I intend. I will. The Killjoy is the will of will. The intention to intend, the will to intention, the intended will, the drive, to be driven to will the good will drive. Do you have it? Did you have it? Is it always constant, or is there sometimes more or sometimes less of it? I mean, me. Did you get my name? The US is a racist nation. This is how I want to begin my speech about feminism today. The racism in your country made me think hard and long about even coming here. Not that there is a place that exists without racism, but my fellow speakers, Adam, Leila, Lauren, Janine, Hugh, Ryan, or Lauren, Dee, Isaac, and Jessica, are the reason I'm here. I would like to thank you and applaud your perseverance and engagement. I humble and I blush before you. Thanks to all of us for creating this space in which we can imagine a different future than the one introduced to us by the present. Thanks to the fighting feminist movement for securing my safety while I'm here. Thanks for all the temporarily political truth in the name of the revolution. Thanks to the artist for continuing the communication, for changing the world and making it a more interesting place. And thank you all for coming. It's so good to be a room full of queers. You make me feel all normal. Sometimes Yes Association gets invited to other institutions. That invitation usually comes with conditions, hope, and sets of rules. The hope is that something will get disrupted, and that this disruption is both celebrated and expected. But we are all preconditioned by the administrative formalities that organize the spaces for maneuver for bodies within institutions. To classify, categorize, normalize, and strive for efficiency, and somehow everything suddenly slips back to business as usual. The tendency is so strong, and it often comes with good intentions. I'm speaking to you this morning as one of the leftovers, one of the weirdos, the ones who shave their head, those who don't know how to dress, who worry that they stink, those who have rotten teeth and ugly ones, the old hags, the dykes, the frigid, the unfuckable, the neurotics, the psychos, the fat tards, the skinny slut, those with big bellies, those who would rather be men, who behave as if they were men, the ones with big asses, noisy women who destroys everything that comes their way, those whose shyness is due to their hang-ups, those who don't know how to say no, those who are locked up to be controlled, women with scars, beautiful ones, women who don't turn men on, those with flabby skin and wrinkled faces, those who dreams of plastic surgery, of lip suction, of having their nose broken so it can be reset but can't afford it. Women who look like the back of the bus, those who can only rely on themselves for protection, who don't know how to comfort others, who could care less about their kids. We often hear that the deconstruction of essentialized identities, which results from an acknowledgement of the contingency and ambiguity of identity itself, renders feminist political action impossible. Many feminists believe that without the existence of women as a coherent category, we cannot imagine the possibility of a feminist political movement in which women could unite as women in order to formulate and pursue specific feminist aims. To the contrary, I argue, the construction of essential identities is a necessary starting point for those feminists who are committed to radical democratic politics, because it highlights the variety of social relations to which the principle of liberty and equality should apply. Let's demand that we locate our political identity between what we have inherited and what is not yet born, between what we can only imagine and the histories that constrain and shapes that imagination. This is a notion of political identity quite at odds with an identity shaped by fixed social categories, coordinates, I mean. C, essentialism is like dynamite or a powerful drug. Judiciously applied, it can be effective in dismantling unwanted structure or alleviating suffering. Uncritically employed, however, it is destructive and addictive. That's why we need to use essentialism with care. We need to use it temporarily, and most importantly, we need to use it strategically. Strategic essentialism is like role-playing, briefly inhabiting the criminal mind in order to understand what makes it tick.
We need to be alert. We need to decide quickly and without fear or guilt when we need to essentialize ourselves and say yes to a group identity to reach a particular political goal in a particular situation, in a particular space, at a particular time. We also need to learn when to say no. We need to distinguish when naming works emancipatorily and leads to increased agency, and we need to learn when it does not. And when we do name, we shouldn't be content with naming just a few. Lesbians, lumpen paratoliates, Southern Cameroonians, gay men, trashy chicks, Papans, bisexuals, Assyrians, trans men, Celts, class travelers, Bakassi people, trans women, queers, fags, Innu people, dykes, the underprivileged, the muff divers, Inuits, refugees, the shabby chic, bull daggers, the leisure class, queens, men's, Amarans, drag queens, drag kings, Han Chinese, flaming queens, trannies, Afro-Arabs, fairies, gym boys, Lakota Sioux, boxing boys, Romas, boxing girls, the middle class, pitchers, catchers, Sami people, butchers, dead ones, cosmopolitans, boys, F to M's, M to F's, the middle class to working class to underclass, East Indians, old maids, Kurds, Miss Kittens, Dear Johns, subalterns, the upper middle class, Creoles, inverts, perverts, Pacific Islanders, the sans papiers, girlfriends. Rohingya people, drag queens. Prom queens, drag kings, women, Cherokees, happy people, nouveau rich, alien sexualities, hipsters. Tamil people, small bourgeois, freaks, Caucasians, lower working class, the criminals, Faroe Islanders, suicidals, the arty trashy, the lower middle class, Tutsi Rwandans, gender benders, slaves, the working class, losers, Hutu, upper class, upper middle class, Demasi people, mestizos, the white trash, Tibetans, the aristocracy, the filthy rich, Sikhs, Uyghurs, clandestinos, other genders, Palestinians, the undocumented Afro-Latinos, nouveau poor, global workers, seasonal workers, the privileged, the low class, and the no class. I mean, who wouldn't go to such a bar? Unfortunately, this is but a fantasy in your somewhat underdeveloped part of the world. You know, people on the left in the US look to you, for an alternative way. And I say, no. To look to Europe at a time like this would be looking right, and right is the wrong way. 3 worlds or 4 are always better than 1. Now that's what I always say. I'm serious. Everyone I just called out. You Europeans need us all. Social, cultural, and economical sectors, all parts of your union, need a more heterogeneous population. If you don't act and make allies transnationally, locally, you're going down. You're going down. I mean, I'm surprised you all are still alive. For real, look around for a second. Go ahead, look. Damn, what a pale bunch. But I realize that there are those of you who recognize that this, you recognize this and who join us as we work collectively towards a more diverse and multiple world. And we will stick together. We'll find each other even in a place like this.
Because we are the people in the house and we refuse to be dignified and rational. Dreams, unhappiness and rage is all over this architecture. This building is nothing more than a parenthesis in the excitement called our lives. Often when we get invited to speak at the institution with a big I, we get a bad taste in our mouth and tend to feel exhausted from the ambivalence that such an invitation brings. Does anybody recognize that feeling? I saw someone there. Well, this time is I kind of forced myself in. Hi. Hello. I'm Killjoy. Are you Killjoy too? Then there are a few of us. Good to know. Sometimes Killjoy wakes up and has a bad day. Killjoy wants to be proper subject. Be there, smack, right in the middle of it all. Be legitimate. Be a real human. Have rights. Assert rights. Be in the within. Make the within more heterogeneous and more equal. Like speak at an art fair, at a feminist conference. Sometimes we write contracts. Sometimes we get them signed. They are all aimed at promoting more heterogeneous and more equal art institutions, to include difference and diversity within the institution. But is that really what we want? you heard this before, but yes, association is an art collective, an institution, an art worker, a group of people working to overthrow the ruling system of heteronormative, patriarchal, racist, and capitalist power structure by putting into practice a structural redistribution of accesses to financial resources, space, and time within the art scene. We like deciding what an art institution should do and not do. We teach them how to count, and that counting is not enough. We are contractors, killjoys, lovers. We want to decide the rules of the game. We critique institutions. We like writing down laws and regulations on paper, and we like sanctions. In 2010, we made a big art institution in Brooklyn sign one of our agreements. I want to share part of the agreement here with you today. Now you have two choices. You can either spend the next 5 minutes reading excerpt from the Equality Diversity Agreement, or you can print it out later and read it before you go to bed. I can send you the link or give it to you, or you can follow me in a short meditation. For you who will follow the meditation, I'm helping you to shift your space so that you can come to relax. I mean, if you can, lay down on the floor. Letting the floor hold your weight. Or let the chair embrace you. Perhaps let your eyes close, or let them focus on a single point on the ceiling above you if you are laying on the floor. My hope is that you stay close enough to be able to extend your arms or legs and feel someone else right there. For this moment, let your body touch someone else's body. Let yourself feel what it feels like to connect, to let heat and energy and subtle shift move between skins. Are you there? Are you doing it? What does it feel like to know you're part of a web of touch, of contact, even through the floor, that you are part of a whole inside of a space? Breathe in deeply. Feel the earth hold your weight. Feel your toes or your fingertips or your head, your hip, gather the warmth that comes from another human. Breathe in from your toe tips all the way through the crown of your head. Bring your attention to the tiny spot of skin just beneath your nostril where air moves into your body to fill your lungs and then moves out to let new air in. There are tiny hairs hairs on this part of your skin. Feel them move as your breath passes in and out. Feel that the air is cooler as it comes in and warmer once it leaves you, having been heated by the energy of your own body. Ancient texts put forth that our body is made up of wheels of energy. There are 6 of them inside our flesh, body inside our flesh bodies, and the 7 that is said to hover direct over the spot at the crown of our heads. This place at the crown of your head is the energy wheel that opens over with faith, the transcendent of boundaries, cosmic connections, and deep connection to all other beings. It is pictured as a lotus flower, literally descending from the crown all around the head. Open us up to the receivers of wisdom, connective knowledge, and unifying truth. Take a few more deep breaths here. When you are ready, rise up to sit again. There can be no overestimation of how powerful this present moment is. Right here, right now, can change everything. Contrary to the inner narratives that churn through us, contrary also to the incredibly forceful currents of culture, right here, right now, in every present moment, there lies the possibility for a radical kind of space. This is our house. We can decide if we want this to be the beginning or the end. We can decide if we want to try to change the conditions for who is included and who is excluded. For us, social injustice is a collective problem that requires a collective solution. We have feminism, and we have a place where we don't have to participate in capitalism. We are communists. We fight capitalism. We want a revolution. Using words such as communism, class struggle, and revolution will qualify you for a free consultation with a psychiatrist, which is actually not so bad. One our demand is a president that has been to therapy, has cross-dressed and misbehaved, someone who has been in love and been hurt, who respects sex, has made mistakes and learned from them, someone who is bent just as much upon destruction as survival. We want a black woman for president. We want 3 presidents or none at all, whatever comes first. Affirming non-binary structure also entails living without conscience of foundations, origins and progress, and especially without clear distinction between the real and the fictive, the ideal and the material, the past and the present.
Politics is about nomination. It is about naming the political subjectivity and organizing politically around that name. The political task, then, is one of inventing a name around which a political subject can aggregate for the various social struggles through which we are living. This act of aggregation of the political subject is a moment of counter-hegemony. This act is precisely what I desire. What is exhibited in this fantasy is the possibility of performing and articulating the movement among static choices of identity. It's the movement. It's all about the action of not quite specifically all the time one or the other that I hope to articulate. Making boundaries is politics. Crossing them is drama. We need to focus on ambivalence rather than truth. Rather than fight for a right or true politics, we might purposefully embrace their impossibility with an understanding that we cannot determine the meaning of our own acts. It is giving up the intentionality and the scientific method of giving in to a politics motivated not by truth or morality, but perhaps by love, desire, relentlessness, humor, hope, inventiveness, and impulse. We need art that can analyze the works of capitalism and patriarchy in all their manifestations: ideological, institutional, organizational, subjective. We need art that will let us think in terms of diversities rather than unities. We need art that will break the old concepts of traditions of Western art that have systematically construed the worlds hierarchically in terms of masculine universals and feminine specificities. We need art that will enable us to articulate alternative ways of thinking about and acting upon gender without either simply reversing the old hierarchies or confirming them. We need art that will be useful and relevant for political practice, because neither empowerment nor social justice is possible without some sense of what needs to be changed. We need also to place greater emphasis on the connections among art, knowledge, and power relations. Aesthetics beyond disciplines. Aesthetics as a fact of life. We need art. Now that goes without saying.
Reclaiming public spaces makes them public. Let us make one thing clear. Art does not necessarily have to reflect the hegemonic structure of society. Art can be organized and based in and around the everyday knowledge and material struggles that structure people's lives. Art can, in fact, counter hegemonic structures. We are the world's darkest past. We are giving shape to the future. We will open a new front. Who affords themselves the possibility of risk? Who puts themselves on stake? Who overcomes fear, acts on thinking without thinking, sees thinking as acting? Who speaks loudly into the microphone in a conference, takes their shirt off in the nightclub, takes her panties on stage? Who goes to another place, stays in one place, who ask you to look after their child for 20 minutes, who goes out to film when it's minus 15 degrees centigrade, who survived a stomach virus, who fought for the contraceptive rights, homosexuals and anarchism in the late 19th century, who cooks for many people without really planning it, or fast for 6 days, who refuses to get out of bed, refuses to spend money, work, communicate, refuses to identify with any one group or ideology, who gets fisted in the toilet at the nightclub, who pays their look at George O'Keeffe's paintings, who is ready and willing to share the problematic reading of an image, who gets to read it, who refuses to look, refuses to leave, to pay, to leave without being paid, who is here, present and ready. We are, and we will turn the tide. Thank you.